Hi, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you are viewing this video. I am so pleased to be joined by Jack Cooper today of Seriously Low Carb fame. I met Jack on LinkedIn actually, where we were bonding over all things CX, and I thought he had some amazing insights, particularly from those of challenger brands, of how investing in CX has really helped Seriously Low Carb hit their goals and targets for the year and also build a good amount of customer loyalty. So welcome, Jack.
Thank you very much, Kerry. Pleased to be here.
So, Jack, can you just give us a couple of highlights on your background? So what's your background? Where'd you come from? How did you land in CX and the world of contact center?
Yeah, for sure. So my background actually started in a completely different space. So I came through an engineering apprenticeship and I started out working on mechanical and hydraulic systems for BP and Shell. But after finishing my apprenticeship, I sort of quickly realised that wasn't really for me long term. So I ended up taking what was meant to be a sort of temporary stopgap role at ASOS in their customer service contact centre. And I ended up just falling in love with it. The culture of the business, the pace of the customer service, and the mindset they had of like the customer always coming first.
Yeah.
And yeah, I stayed there for about 5 or 6 years, moving through various different leadership roles and learning just how powerful really good customer experience can be, especially in a fast-paced business. Since then, I've moved around into different roles for different businesses, but I've always led large-scale contact centers and fully remote customer service operations across multiple different sectors. But we've always had a focus on CX, on operational excellence, and empowering the team to provide the best experience they can.
Absolutely. And then what made you join Seriously Low Carb at the time that you joined? How long have you been with them now, and what was the background to it?
So I've been with Seriously coming up to 5 years now, I think it is. And I'd never worked in a startup or really sort of high growth business before Seriously. And that was a huge part of the appeal. So when I joined, a lot of the business, especially customer experience, was still in its infancy. It was all still really early stages. And being able to get in at the kind of ground floor and help build the entire customer function from scratch, it was a challenge, but it was something that I was really excited about. So that was the reason why I went to Seriously. And then not long after joining, I kind of stepped across into a head of operations role.
Yeah.
So that was me taking on the full direct consumer side of the business. So it was logistics, fulfillment, e-commerce, the post-sale CX. And that gave me like a much wider lens on how CX fits the bigger picture of the business commercially, not just directly for the consumer. And now that we've added like more resource and structure to the operations side of the business, I've been able to shift my focus back to what I'm most passionate about, which is the customer's like digital experience.
Yeah.
So it's been like really a sort of full circle journey so far. And now I get to take everything I've learned across the rest of the business and use it to shape the CX strategy. So it doesn't just support growth for the business, it's what's driving it.
Absolutely. And I think what's always challenging for founders in the startup phase is to go where to go to first, like logistics, supply. How have you found that stepping over into that logistics and supply chain side alongside your customer ops, and what sort of learning curve has that had for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like if I'm being honest, it's given me a lot more empathy with like the logistics and supply chain managers out there. I feel like prior to working in that world, I saw all of the problems that we were having to deal with in CX that were root caused from that. And I was almost had that mentality of, you know what, let me get involved. I'll sort it out and then it'll fix the CX problems as well. And I really quickly learned that it's not that simple. Like there's so many moving parts. There's so much to juggle. And I think that one of the things that I've really taken away from it that we're still doing at Seriously now, which is fantastic, is the super transparent cross-function communication.
Yeah.
We have like daily stand-ups every day with all of the heads of across the business. Like I know what work streams they're all working on. They know what work stream I'm working on, and we're able to really preempt any issues before they really occur. And I think that's one of the things that having that wider 360 business view really helps bringing it back into CX, is that you need to, I think a lot of CX functions fall into the category of being very reactive.
Yeah.
But to get the most out of it, you have to be as proactive as possible, like liaising with your counterparts across the business, speaking of all the suppliers and your kind of key stakeholders, and doing everything you can to prevent issues happening on the front foot rather than just dealing with them once they've happened.
Definitely. And the important thing to note is, of course, customer support is a key stakeholder to customer experience, and customer experience itself is its own separate function, but I believe should all be under a chief customer officer eventually and show that commitment to customer. But is this your first time in getting involved in more of that proactive customer experience, or was that embedded in some of the larger operations you were working in previously?
Yeah, so no, CX was definitely a part of some of the larger organisations I was a part of. In between ASOS and Seriously, I worked for Born Leisure, working in the Haven brand, and CX was a huge part of what we did there, because a lot of the kind of the data rich points we were getting through CX was what fueled the direction for the business. And that was one of the key things that I've really taken from that experience, is like you say, there's such a difference between support and experience, but taking all of that data from the experience that you get and using that to decide on the direction of strategy for the business. And that almost becomes your decision maker. Which is super powerful for any business in any sector.
Definitely. And I think in the early days, founders having a lot of involvement within customer support is really important, because it's such a rich data hub to tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Because your customers are really happy to tell you, especially in the early days, right? They're more supportive of, say, challenger brands within the e-com space if they're getting things wrong as an early business. But as you start to get bigger and bigger, they become less forgiving.
Yeah, exactly. You're 100% right. I feel like a lot of people, when you're a smaller brand and you're still in that growth phase, a lot of people kind of feel like you're their best kept secret. Like, I was one of their first customers. I know them. I speak with them. And that's great. Like, you want customers to feel that way. You want them to have that relationship and that kind of emotional attachment to you. And it does buy you a lot of understanding from your customers when you're in that stage. The challenge then becomes is when you start refining the experience so that your brand, you might still be a small business, but when your brand starts to feel more premium and that it has the more refined processes, a lot of the new customers that will be coming in won't see you as that small business anymore. They just see you as a business, and they have much higher expectations because of that. And that's a good thing, because that's how you want to be able to position yourself. But you then have that challenge of how do you still build that emotional attachment to your customers.
Definitely, because they become your best marketeers, right? I know that if I feel like I've got something as a best kept secret, I shout about it all the time. And I've made some purchase decisions recently based on what people have been telling me. Like, for example, I've just brought Grind Coffee to commit to their subscription because I kept seeing how good their CX was, including a time where they said they're increasing the subscription price. And you go, it's really important, that sort of stuff, right, to create those brand fans who sell it for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're like you say, your customers can be your best marketers, and having them become your promoters by just wowing them every step of the way is the easiest way to grow your brand directly within your target audience, because people tend to gravitate to people like themselves. So if you have a target audience, you've got those customers in your business, you can wow them. They're going to spread the word to other people like themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you say wow, what do you mean when you say you're going to wow your customers?
Yeah, so it depends on kind of what stage your business is at. I think, I mean, you and I have spoken before about how in this day and age, like Amazon has just distorted people's views of what e-commerce is. Like, everyone expects delivery, order it today, get it tomorrow. If something goes wrong, you want it to be on a phone call with someone within 60 seconds and have it resolved ASAP. And people's expectations are so high now. You almost have to make sure that all of your processes are streamlined as possible. You have to map out every journey the customer's going to go through just to meet expectations. But for me, I think one of the easiest ways of wowing someone, especially in kind of an e-commerce business, is when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
It's almost like that paradox of if something goes wrong for a customer, if you can wow them with the support you offer, you're more likely for them to become like a brand loyalist rather than if nothing had gone wrong in the first place. If you can wow someone with the service you're offering them, like the personalization you can offer, the understanding of them and their experience, that you're more likely to turn that person into a repeat customer versus someone who's bought something and it's gone well, but they haven't been wowed by anything because they have those high expectations already.
Definitely. It's that same thing that we spoke about, right? Amazon, sometimes their recovery is not great. I've had 2 occasions where things have gone wrong and they haven't been able to fix the issue. But it's just such a rare occurrence when I think about the volume of orders. And you don't have that luxury sometimes within the smaller. Now, everybody will have noticed I've gone slightly ghost here. It doesn't matter. I'm still sat here in the background, but apparently my embedded camera has lost connection on my brand new laptop, which is always fun. So Jack, tell me about your ethos and approach to CX and how you've positioned that within Seriously.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, kind of customer experience isn't just a department or a function. It's very much a mindset that you kind of need to embed through the entire business. And too often, sort of customer support is treated like reactively, like a sort of fire extinguisher for complaints. And then customer experience is then kind of siloed across many different functions. So you have product experience, for example, like the experience your customer gets when they receive the product is a customer experience. You might have your digital experience is owned by your marketing or your website team.
Yeah.
But that is again, it's a key part of the customer journey and a key part of CX. And I think for me that's one of the main things. You need to have somebody overseeing the overall experience across every area of the business, whether it's the product itself, the packaging, the delivery service, the proactive communications, the marketing communications, the website journey, the functionality of your customer portal. That all needs to have an overarching CX view applied to it. And you just need to make sure that everything that is being done throughout the business, you are asking yourself, is this going to build trust? Is it going to strengthen retention? And are we driving long-term value for our customers through what we are doing? And I think that's my approach to it. You need to have an overarching vision of every area of the business to make sure that the experience the customer is getting from those areas is aligned throughout the journey.
Definitely. And sometimes CX can be seen as something, Jack, that we've all seen as something a little bit fluffy. It's being nice to your customers for customers' sake. And it's something altogether different, right? Because we're all very good in terms of brand trust, and we're more likely to spend where we trust a brand and position. That much is proven in terms of the data. How has Seriously's approach to customer or approach to customer experience and the founders team, etc., how has it evolved over those 5 years that it's been there? Has it evolved, or have they always believed in this customer experience as a key driver?
I think we've always known how important the experience is for the customers, because like we say, like, as a small business, it's hard to acquire customers. Yeah. When you get them, you don't want to lose them. I think for us now, and this might be more to do with we're at a stage in our business now, so we're able to have this mindset. But I think a lot of a lot of CX we look at. In the early days, we were looking at the numbers, so retention, lifetime value, how much do we get from a customer during their lifetime? At what point does that acquisition become profitable? How do we retain the customer beyond that profitability point, etc., etc.? And I think that comes down to when you're growing the business, like you need revenue to fund growth. But once you get to a stage where you're a bit more established, a bit more secure, you can almost remove those financial metrics that you focus on quite heavily in the early days, and you can then start looking more at the sort of sentiment-based analytics of CX. And I think that's when you really start to, you can really wow the customers with what you can put in place for them, because you're not constantly trying to balance well, we want to do this and we think it's going to have this impact for the customer, but there's going to be this cost attached. And when you are a more established business, you can weigh the experience against the cost implications and be much more lenient with kind of what you can get away with in terms of cost. So, but that's also when you can really start to set yourself apart, because you can start following some more creative ideas that are going to make people just say, do you know what, that was really cool, versus, oh, do you know what, I'm going to keep buying with this company now because of X, Y, and Z. It's just about that wow moment.
Absolutely. And for you, what have been some of the best things that you've worked on that you think have made the biggest difference to your customers?
Yeah, I think we've had so much stuff happen over the last 5 years where we've really had to kind of it comes back to what I said about the cross-functional work and the transparency. A lot of it comes to the transparency with the customers. We've rebuilt our website like 3 times. We've pivoted our subscription strategy 3 or 4 times. We've had to transition key suppliers, which has caused a few delays. For people that don't know, our product is a health food product that a lot of people rely on for medical needs. So when there are delays in deliveries, that can be quite problematic for people. But I think all of the hurdles that we've had to overcome as CX during that rapid growth phase, we've done it, and we've come out the other side with just stronger and stronger loyalty from our customers. And I think all of those things combined, when we look at our kind of advocacy scores that we have now of our customers and our retention rate and the amount of people that have signed up for regular repeat subscriptions versus one-time purchases, and the conversations we have as well, which is one of the things I was kind of speaking about the other day. Sometimes it's easy to get lost in data and numbers and reports and analytics. Like a lot of the time, your best bet is just to pick up the phone, give a couple of your customers a ring, and just see what their thoughts are. You get so much more truth out of that than surveys and reports. But I think, like I say, all of the hurdles we've had to overcome and the fact that we've come out the other side with such a strong and loyal customer base is definitely the standout thing for me.
And I know you mentioned, Jack, in our conversation, you have really driven that single purchase to repeat subscription quite significantly in the last 12 months and sort of really on track to hit your targets in terms of the revenues under the subscription model. What do you think have been the big differentiators that have allowed you to drive from the single purchase to the subscription model?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is there's been a couple of things. I think one of them has been having the right tools and using them in the right way. Like, you can have all of the ideas that you want on how to improve loyalty, how to improve retention, how to keep people coming back. If you don't have an actual way of easily implementing them into your tech stack, like you're gonna fall over really quickly. So having the right tools, using them in the right way, really mapping out what your customer's journey is and finding out what are those points of friction. So why is it that customers seem to stop ordering after their 4th order? What happens? What is the reason? It's not just a coincidence. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be a root cause for that. For us, finding out what those friction points are, finding out how we can alleviate that friction, if not entirely remove it. And again, speaking to the customers, we've had loads of things that we've changed recently in our subscribe and save model, that the changes haven't come from me or our SLT. It's come from our customers saying, why haven't you done this? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah.
And those are the sorts of things that really have made a difference. And I think when you're, especially in a small sort of challenger brand, you spend so much of your time in the business. You can get tunnel vision on what you think the problems are. But again, like I say, speaking to your customers and understanding what is it they want, what are they looking for from your product, what do they want from your brand, and then implementing those. So, like for example, we have so many products. I don't even know how many products we have. And a lot of our products are specifically targeted for people managing diabetes. But then a lot of our customers that are managing diabetes are also trying to manage their weight loss as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of our customers don't know about our weight loss products, because the way our system was set up was you're trying to manage your diabetes, so these are the products we recommend. But then you lose that whole other sort of world of product that the customer could benefit from. And that came from sort of customers telling us like, oh, I wish you did like actual meals. And it's like, well, we do pizzas. Like we sell low carb, high protein pizzas, and our customers didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Because we've so targeted them into our diabetic bread that they've missed our low carb, high protein pizza. So restructuring the kind of subscription hub for our customers to kind of show them the other options based on what other customers like them are purchasing. Things like that have been really impactful.
Makes sense, because it's almost like the over segmentation of your customers, right?
Sure.
Right, we did segmenting them for this, that, and the other. And so, and I love that approach. The innovating with your customers tagline is one of my favorites, when you say, actually, listen to your customers. They are the people that are telling you what they want and other people like them want. So listen to them, because you're not your own target. Or originally, when you're starting, usually a business starts from your own problem, right? You're managing something for you, so you create a brand, but then that evolves over time.
Yeah, I mean, that seriously is a prime example of that. So our founder, Andy, he started the business because he was doing an Ironman, and he was researching online the best diet to support like endurance athletes.
Yeah.
And a keto low carb diet is phenomenal for that. So that's how our products developed. And then the business started because Andy thought there was a way of commercializing the products and targeted them to endurance athletes. And we were selling product, and we was like, great, there's all these triathletes and marathon runners buying our stuff. And then when we actually speak to the customers, it's people that need to be low carb to manage their diabetes or manage specific forms of insulin resistant epilepsy, or they're trying to lose weight. And it's actually like, do you know what? This business started to fuel endurance sports, and it's actually becoming much more medical. And like you say, like that is not what the initial problem we were trying to fix was, but it's what we've become experts in.
Absolutely. And tell me then, Jack, what's been the biggest impact for customers in the business? And if we can talk about impacts in terms of revenue, percentage drivers from single purchase to subscription, any big impacts that you've got from that side?
Yeah, for sure. So like we've seen firsthand that like when we prioritize CX, like it delivers. So obviously I know you mentioned them, but like earlier on this year, we've shifted our focus really heavily onto retention and loyalty and subscription, instead of constantly pushing like the acquisition of new customers. So on the subscription side of things, like we've redefined our value messaging and our journey touch points. And that's led us to a 61% increase in active subscriptions in just 6 months.
Wow.
And that's not from like fancy adverts. That's not from us acquiring new customers. That's just from us getting that subscription experience right. So the existing customers we had now, instead of buying a one-time purchase maybe once a month, they're having regular fortnightly deliveries, just because the experience is right for them now. We've seen our subscription area of the business, the AOV for subscription orders has gone up sort of 25%. We've seen our churn rates for existing subscribers drop massively because it's such an easier experience for them now. They're just continuing to subscribe beyond what they were before. We've seen huge impact in terms of revenue. I think prior to this focus, I think it was about 22% of our monthly revenue was from subscriptions. And when we were doing a business review earlier in the month, we're now at 45% of monthly revenue comes directly from subscriptions. So we're seeing huge business benefits from that improved experience we're offering the customers. We're sort of financially seeing the rewards of that now as well, which it's fantastic. And it's not just about the kind of financial side of things. So one of the experiences that we were really struggling with was our kind of self-service customer support.
Yeah.
So we've totally over the last few months completely rebuilt our help center. So using actual sort of customer and ticket data. So we had sort of 73 really outdated, bloated articles that just weren't relevant anymore. And we've now managed to kind of trim that down to just 14 really high impact ones that matter. And the result of that is that we're seeing sort of a 40 to 45% uplift in customers using our help center, finding the information they need. And as a result of being able to find that information quickly, we're seeing conversion rates on those products increase, because people, that blocker for whatever question they might have had about the product or the service, whatever it might have been, when they couldn't find the answer, they might have sent an email and then we got back to them, but it might have been a day later and they've lost interest now. That purchasing point's gone. By refining that kind of self-serve information up front, we're seeing conversion rates on those products and pages increase because people are in the buying mindset. They have a question, they're getting an answer, and then they're going through to checkout. So it's having a real good impact on the business. And again, through the sentiment analysis that we're doing, we can see it's having a really positive impact on our customers as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's the interesting thing, right? Especially with the pace, again, referencing back to Amazon, our expectations are somewhat skewed. And I've been there lots of times when I'll see an advert and I'll think, I've seen this advert about 4 or 5 times on social media. I'm going to buy something and I click it right there and then before I've even thought about anything. And then the next day I might not have brought it because I'm thinking, I'm not that interested now.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what's next on your customer agenda?
Yeah, so I think it's a bit of a we're in a bit of a sort of turning point for CX now. I feel like everyone will know from everything on social media and LinkedIn, like AI is the sort of hot topic at the minute, and the compounding growth it's going through. For me, I think our next stage is really about augmenting our current CX team with AI. So not replacing them with AI, but augmenting their day with it to free up more of their time to focus on the really important human stuff. Yeah. So if we can get the right AI tools in place and configured the right way so that the repetitive tasks that the CX team are having to deal with daily gets taken away from them, you can then free them up to work on either more strategic pieces or focusing on things that really require a human touch and need more empathy. And I think that's going to be one of the next things we really look at. For us as well, we're also looking much more closely at a customer loyalty program, but not just in the sort of generic sense of, every pound you spend, you get a point. We want to base it on kind of real data and interactions from our customers. So again, like I've alluded to earlier on, like what do the customers actually want? What makes someone go from a buyer to a real brand loyalist? And then understanding that helps us design more CX moments that really matter to the customer. I think a lot of the time as sort of leaders in CX, we sometimes think more about volume rather than the experience that volume allows. How many tickets are we getting through? How many subscribers do we have? How many loyalists? What's our NPS score? Like how the volume of what we're getting in? Whereas I think sometimes you need to kind of take a step back and think, what is the moment that is creating that volume in the first place? Like, what is the moment that experience is happening, and just working on that, and turning them into the wow moments.
Absolutely. And one last question for you, Jack, in terms of, for any founders that are at the start of their journey and might not have money to invest necessarily in CX, but can spend time within their CX in those early days, what would be your 1, 2, 3 biggest takeaways of things that have been really high impact activity for you guys at Seriously that have really, in your opinion, sorry to use a cliche, moved the needle in the right way for customers?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is it's hard when you are the founder and it's your baby and your business, but you really have to remove your own personal biases. So you might have a preconceived idea of what your customer wants, what problems they're having, what issues need fixing, what they're trying to what the end result they want is. But you need to remove that bias and take a real objective view on what your customers are telling you. Because you might be surprised at what it is they are telling you. They might be buying your products for a completely different reason to what you want. The pain point that you think all of your customers are experiencing might not actually be a big problem for them at all. They might be worried about something else. Really remove your personal bias as much as you can. The second thing would be is, if time allows it, talk to your customers as much as possible, and not just through like inbound dealing with customer service. Speaking to people that have been repeat purchasers or have placed large orders or have left you 5-star reviews on Trustpilot or have left you 1-star reviews on Trustpilot, like, well, whatever it is, speak to as many people as possible and find out what it is they are experiencing and what it is they think when they hear your brand's name or when they see your logo or land on your website. What is it they're thinking? What is it they're feeling? What is the sentiment that they associate your brand with? And then the final thing would be, when you are in a position to do so, surround yourself with people better than you. I think when it's your business and it's a small business and you are the figurehead of that business and you are leading the charge in every area, like, that is phenomenal. But no one is an expert at everything. No. At some point, there will be someone who is a better salesman than you, a better marketer than you, a better CX expert than you, a better e-commerce expert, whatever it is. When you get to a point that you're able to do so, surround yourself with those people that are better than you, and they will elevate the business. Like, what's the saying is, like, a rising tide lifts all ships, or whatever it is. Like, surround yourself with people that are better and you will become better because of that. No one, you might be an expert in your business, but you won't be an expert in every area of your business. And I think that's something that's really key for kind of growing brands and founders of young businesses to understand.
Absolutely. And for me, the outgoing thing is, without your customers, you've not got a business. And it's one of those things where I think customer experience is so underrated, and the customer support elements and the proactive versus the reactive, when those are the things that really foster loyalty. People can give me freebies all the time, but what I want to know is, if I've got an issue, can you solve it? And as you said, in those moments that matter. And that's what gains my loyalty. And the more people I talk to in friendship groups, and especially with subscription models, some of my friends are like becoming a bit subscription blind because they've got subscriptions to everything. Making customers feel something for your brand is what's going to keep your subscription alive and well in their list of subscriptions, right? So definitely. Jack, thank you so much for your time. The biggest takeaway that I will take from this is, outbound is not dead, yet very few people do it. People would love to, if people like your brand, they're happy to get a customer and happy to think, God, this person really values my business. They really value my custom. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for the time. Apologies for the technology errors here. I will be reporting to Lenovo. But thank you very much for your time. It's been a really valuable session. Thank you,
No problem
everybody
at all.
who
Thank you
tuned
very
in.
much.
Thank you.